Okay, so growth. It's got to be one of the most exciting parts of running a business, right? More clients, more projects, more hands on deck. But here's the thing, as your team gets bigger, this quiet little administrative problem starts to creep in, and it has everything to do with how you handle money.
So let's just dive right in with a simple question for you. I want you to really think about your own team for a second. As you've added people, has the way you track expenses evolved? Or are you still using the exact same system you had when it was just, a couple of you in a room? See, that is the core problem we're going to unpack here.
And look, here's the honest truth. Those systems that felt so fast and easy at the beginning, yeah, those are always the first things to break under the weight of growth. That casual, informal way of doing things just can't handle the new complexity. And this slide, it just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the early days. A couple of people, right? Sending a receipt in a chat, jotting it down in a spreadsheet. It feels super efficient. It just works. But then you hit that growth phase. Look at the right side. 10 plus people. And suddenly that same process is just creating friction. Details are getting lost. And what used to be simple is now, well, it's just pure chaos.
So, how can you tell your system's starting to crack? I mean, it's not like some big explosion, right? It's more of a slow burn. And it starts showing up in these simple, repetitive, and honestly super frustrating daily questions.
It usually starts with this one. Did this expense get approved? Suddenly, nobody's quite sure what's been given the green light. When you hear this, it's a huge red flag that your approval workflow is breaking down. It creates all this hesitation and delay.
And then there's this classic: who paid for this? I mean, seriously, when your team has to start asking who actually fronted the money for something, it means you've totally lost the chain of ownership. It's just a clear sign your tracking is shot. Oof, this one really hurts. Why is this amount different from what we expected? This one points to a total breakdown in financial control and communication. It basically means your budgets aren't being tracked, and these unexpected costs are just piling up without anyone even noticing till it's way too late. Okay, so here's the really crucial point. These questions aren't just minor annoyances. They are bright red flashing warning lights. They are clear, undeniable signals that the way you've been doing things just isn't cutting it anymore. It's failing your business. And listen, the cost of ignoring these signals, it's way, way higher than you'd think. We're not just talking about a couple of missing receipts here. We're talking about real, actual damage to your team and to your bottom line. All right, let's actually break down what these hidden costs look like. When reimbursements are slow, your staff gets frustrated. Of course they do. Missing receipts, that literally means you have no idea where your money went. Duplicate payments, inaccurate records, pretty soon your growth strategy isn't a strategy at all. It's just a total guess. And all of this leads to the ultimate danger, what we call financial blind spots. This is when you just can't answer those basic critical questions. Questions like, hey, which projects are bleeding money? Or where can we possibly cut costs? Without that solid data, you're basically flying blind, and you're doing it right when you need to see everything with perfect clarity. Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it sounds a little grim, I get it. But the good news is this is completely fixable. So let's pivot and talk about the solution, building a growth-ready system that actually scales with you. Building a process that can scale really just comes down to these four pillars. They're pretty straightforward. First up, you need one central place for everything. Get rid of the scattered emails and spreadsheets. Second, the submission steps have to be crystal clear, dead simple, so nobody's guessing what to do. Third, you absolutely need real-time visibility. You have to see spending as it's happening, not weeks later. And last but not least, all your records, the receipts, the notes, the approvals, they all have to live together, organized with each expense. Look, these aren't nice-to-haves. They are absolute necessities for growth. Okay, so why is it so important to get on this now and not, kick the can down the road? Because here's what happens. If you wait too long, the chaos you're feeling right now, it doesn't just stay a problem. It actually becomes your company culture. That whole how we do things around here thing, it just becomes messy and inefficient by default. And honestly, this is it. This is the big one. The single biggest mistake growing businesses make is just assuming they'll fix their internal stuff later. After the next big project or once we hire that new person. But by then, the bad habits are already set in stone.
And just take a look at this chart. It shows you exactly why waiting is so darn costly. See, the time your team wastes chasing down receipts or trying to clarify expenses, that's not a flat number. It literally multiplies with every single person you bring on board. What's a tiny inconvenience for 3 people becomes a massive, soul-crushing productivity drain for a 20-person team. And that's time that could have been spent on real, meaningful work. Just poof, gone.
At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Putting a solid system in place isn't just some boring financial control thing. It's about making sure that this amazing, exciting journey of growth actually feels like progress for everybody, instead of just more and more administrative pressure. So let's leave you with this final thought. So often we think about growth as just hiring more people, right? But maybe the real question we should be asking is this one. Are your systems actually built to support the amazing people you already have? Because if the answer is no, you're not just slowing down your growth, you're actually failing your team.